Graduates, doctors, what a thrill it is to have that title. Your parents, your friends, and your families. It's my pleasure to welcome you here to the University of Manchester and to the splendid surroundings of the Whitworth Hall for this graduation ceremony. Congratulations to all of you on making it through such an onerous training and on jumping the final hurdle in the last few months. On graduating today from the University of Manchester, you have truly given yourselves a powerful competitive edge. Manchester is amongst the leading universities in the world, and you're now members of a huge family of over 200,000 alumni across the globe. You're also linked to a distinguished Hall of Fame, which includes 25 of our former staff and students being Nobel Prize winners, and our graduates being in top positions in business, politics, sport, and the arts, as well as medicine and science. So many great scientists and doctors from the University of Manchester have followed the road you are now on, and through that have improved the lives of literally millions of people across the world. A daunting and inspiring example to follow. In that context, I'm particularly delighted to welcome back one of our former students, Professor Sir Robert Lechler, one of the UK's great leaders in medicine and health and a world leader in transplant research. It's a great privilege to have Sir Robert and his family with us today, and we're excited to honour him with an Outstanding Alumni Award during this ceremony. As well as becoming a graduate of the University of Manchester, you have the privilege of becoming a member of the medical profession. We're proud of the international reputation of medicine and health in Manchester, and our mission is to create doctors who are clinically excellent, have a deep scientific knowledge base, and are capable of making a contribution in any branch of medicine that they choose to pursue. Your graduation as doctors from the university today means that you've satisfied your examiners that is a description of each of you. And we have great hopes for all of you. Your families will be incredibly proud of you today and will rightly enjoy the thrill and reflected glory of your achievement. I know just how much love, support and care you'll have had from your parents, your family and your friends who will have given so much during the years of your school education and your medical school career. What advice can I give you today? I'm certainly not going to try and give you any technical or scientific advice. You've had plenty of that in the last 5 or 6 years. I'm just going to limit myself to one key thought that I hope you'll carry with you every day throughout your careers. And that is to try to treat every patient in the way you would like your closest loved ones to be treated. Try really hard to do that. All of you, in one way or another, will have the opportunity to make a difference to individual people at their time of greatest need and vulnerability when they're unwell. There's no substitute for showing respect and concern, however technically skilled a doctor you are. Always remember that every consultation or procedure is stressful and worrying to the person who's experiencing it. As far as your patients are concerned, the only minor medical problem or surgical procedure is one that's happening to someone else and not to them. Apart from that, try really hard to hold on to your idealism, be scrupulously honest, and respect and treasure your colleagues and staff at all grades, and all will be fine. Always remember just how privileged you are to be able to pursue a medical career, and carry with you a sense of responsibility to use it in the best interest of your patients and the wider community. I congratulate all of you on what you have achieved so far. Enjoy this happy occasion to the full, and the very best of luck to each of you for a fantastically fulfilling and varied career. Thank you. It's now my great pleasure to call on Professor Ashley Woodcock to present the citation for the Outstanding Alumnus Award to Professor Sir Robert Lechler.
Vice President and Dean, ladies and gentlemen, graduands, friends, relatives. It gives me enormous pleasure to introduce the recipient of the University of Manchester Outstanding Alumnus Award for 2014, Professor Sir Robert Lechler. Robert is one of the most eminent clinical academic leaders of his generation, and it gives me great personal pleasure to introduce Robert, since we've known each other for over 30 years, qualifying together here in Manchester, I'm afraid, in 1975. The son of a Lincolnshire GP, he arrived in Manchester in 1970 from Monkton Combe boarding school near Bath. His letter of recommendation from his head teacher we still have a copy of. Seems to be trying quite hard. It said he was from a sound home background, a leading chorister, no ball game player, but probably the most technically efficient rower in the school first 8. Not really ideal for the River Irwell, I don't think, Robert, but anyway. We have an early photo of Robert, aged about 19, looking extremely fashionable, in a cravat. And I'm sorry to confess, but I've known him for many years simply as Bob. Robert's career in medicine didn't get off to a very auspicious start. In the preclinical course, quite honestly, he was average. Perhaps enjoying the Manchester student life too much. Sound familiar? He lived in halls in Didsbury, a keen runner and cyclist, took advantage of the great countryside around here, and some of the drama and jazz concerts. The Contact Theatre just opened down the road. But in the clinical course, when it mattered, things got serious. It suddenly seemed like he'd found what he really wanted to do. And I remember that last year because we were all part of graduating that year. He really began to excel. He obtained distinctions in medicine and psychiatry, winning the Selwyn Silver Medical Prize for the best performance in medicine in his final exams. So when it came to clinical, it became a different story. He'd arrived in Manchester intending to become a GP like his father. But after graduating in 1975, his first house job was the Manchester Royal Infirmary, working for two of Manchester's great physicians, Netta Malik and Sam Oliski. It was here that he began to first develop his interest in renal medicine and transplantation that was to be his research interest for the rest of his career. After the MRI, he worked at the North Manchester General Hospital, and then in his second year of training on heart and lung medicine at Wythenshawe Hospital. But by then, Robert's sights were firmly on a career in kidney disease and transplantation medicine, and he moved to London, St. Bart's, to pursue his research training. He studied for a PhD in transplantation immunology at the University of London and completed his scientific training 2 years later at the NIH, National Institutes of Health, Bethesda in America. His research interests have continued throughout his career and revolve around transplantation tolerance, how to persuade the immune system to tolerate a foreign organ at the same time as fighting off infections and cancer. His pioneering research has helped to significantly reduce the risks in medical transplantation and improve the lives of thousands of people every year. In 1986, he came back from the US to the UK to take up a post as senior lecturer at the Royal Postgraduate Medical School at Hammersmith, and then became head of the Department of Immunology in 1994. He became the dean of the Hammersmith campus in 2001, then the head of Division of Medicine in 2003 in the new Imperial College Faculty of Medicine. Robert finally moved to become the Dean of King's College Medical School in 2004, in charge of the 5 health schools of Guy's. He was also Deputy Chair of Guy's and Thomas's NHS Foundation Trust from 2004 to 2009. In 2009, he led the application and was appointed the Executive Director of King's Health Partners. This was one of the 5 flagship academic health science centres. These are really important new initiatives at that time because they integrate the very best of academia with the very best of the NHS. Robert was in the lead of that new initiative. He's chair of the Clinical Trials Expert Advisory Group, as well as being a member of the Medical Schools Council and of the Academy of Medical Sciences. He heads a leadership giving fund, the Medical Circle, which raises money for medical research. And so, as a result of all these achievements, Robert received a knighthood in the Queen's Birthday Honours for services to academic medicine. I'm sure you'll all agree that it's a long list of inspiring achievements. They bear testament to a lot of hard work, family support, families on the front row, I'm sure they're nodding, commitment, and leadership skills that have been the hallmark of Robert's career. And it all started right here in Manchester. For you graduates today, there could be no better example of what is possible for a Manchester graduate if you stretch yourselves to achieve your ambitions. Robert's links with Manchester have continued in the years since he left, with 3 of his children choosing to study here at this university. Toby and Susanna are on the front row here. We're delighted to see them. Who knows, in 20 years' time, we could be celebrating another Leckler Alumnus Award. First parent and child award in the history of the university. No pressure at all. So, Vice President and Dean, I present to you for the Award of Outstanding Alumnus, Professor Sir Robert Leckler.
Vice President and Dean, ladies and gentlemen, graduands. Can I first say that I'm greatly honored to be chosen for this award. Came as a complete surprise, but I greatly appreciate it. Secondly, could I thank Manchester University for launching my career. I had a great training here and I had a great time here. You've heard from Ashley that I wasn't altogether a model student throughout my training. So I'd say to those graduating today, if you've been late in defining your goals and ambitions, it's never too late, and I'm the proof of that. So I chose a career as a clinical academic, and that meant that I've essentially enjoyed 3 careers, first as a clinician, and then alongside that as a research scientist, and then latterly as an academic leader. And if I may, I just want to make 3 brief observations about each 3 of those parts of my career, and then dare to give you a word of advice based on each of those observations. So firstly, as a clinician, my observation is that a key to success and to fulfillment is to really carefully match your skills and your ambitions. The reciprocal, or the corollary of that, is that I've observed people who are very frustrated who fail to match their skills and ambitions. It's a recipe for disaster. Now, this matching, it doesn't happen by chance. And so my advice based on that observation is to take every opportunity you can to solicit feedback from those you trust as you plot and chart your career going forward. We British are not the best at giving and receiving constructive criticism, so you need to actively seek it out, and I would encourage you to do so from those that you trust so that you can find the niche where your own abilities will be best expressed. So then turning to the clinician scientist bit of my career, my observation is, looking back, I'm rather horrified about the degree of certainty that I had when I qualified and when I started my scientific career. I thought I knew a lot. Well, I did know a bit, but medicine has gone through a revolution since Ashley and I qualified. And looking back now, I can see how partial the knowledge was that I had then that I was so certain about. There's a line from a Bob Dylan song that I like very much, when Dylan says, I'm younger now, I was older than that then. And I think what he's referring to is the certainty of youth that sometimes we can deceive ourselves. So my advice based on that is as you go into your careers, whatever you're going to do, that you carry with you a certain modesty, because medicine is going to go through another revolution in the next 2 decades as we begin to unpick the molecular pathogenesis of diseases that we still don't fully understand very well at all. So curiosity and modesty, I think, would be very good qualities to take with you. And then finally, in terms of leadership, and I hope some of you do aspire to leadership, I'm sure almost all of you in one way or another will find yourself in leadership roles through your career. My observation there is that to be an effective leader, you need to demethylate your generosity gene. Now, that may not mean much to your families and friends, but I guess you've learned something about gene expression, and to express a gene, you need to demethylate it. And my observation is that unless you have demethylated your generosity gene, you will not be an effective leader. You need to reach the point that you genuinely get pleasure from the success of others. And I've seen many people fail in leadership who don't reach that point. They're concerned only about their own success. So my advice is demethylate that generosity gene, and when you begin to develop generosity, then you're fit to lead, and I'm sure you'll be very successful in that. So that's a little heavy for this time of day. That's the advice over. Can I return to where I started? And thank you very much for this award. I greatly appreciate it. And most important of all, can I add my congratulations to all of you graduating. I wish you a thoroughly successful and enjoyable career. Thank you.
I always get the difficult act to follow. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Professor Tony Fremont. I'm head of the Manchester Medical School, which is the undergraduate teaching arm of the Manchester School of Medicine. And it's my pleasure to welcome you, the graduates of the University of Manchester, and your families and friends to the Whitworth Hall in the heart of this great university. As the Dean has already said, we're one of the top universities in the world. In fact, we're ranked in the top 50 universities across the whole of the world. I want you just to look around you. This hall epitomizes the University of Manchester and our graduates. It was built by our Victorian ancestors, and it speaks of confidence, of quality, of reliability, and of aspiration. Although this is a Victorian building, our university can be traced back much further, to 1824. But medical education in the city of Manchester started earlier still, in 1752, when the newly built Manchester Royal Infirmary took its first students. The Manchester School of Medicine itself was officially opened in 1874, and in 1883, we were granted our charter to award the degrees of Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery. It was in the 1950s that Lord Stopford defined both the vision that still drives us forwards and the liberal educational principles that make this school, our programme, and our students respected across the world. By 1973, when the building that bears Lord Stopford's name was opened, the school admitted 200 medical students into its first year, but also a further 70 students from the University of St Andrews into its clinical years. That collaboration with St Andrews continues today, and we're extremely pleased to have senior academics from St Andrews with us today. One thing has changed, however, and that is the size of our school. It is a reflection of the quality of the medical education offered in this university that as the number of doctors required for the expanding NHS increased, so Manchester was asked to take more students. We now admit nearly 400 students into the first year of our course, and through links like those with St Andrews, graduate about 470 doctors a year. A former Dean of Medicine, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today because of infirmity, recently called me to remind me that it is 40 years, almost to the day, since the increasing numbers of students required that we expanded our clinical school, which we did by starting a clinical program in what is now Salford Royal NHS Foundation Trust, but in those days was called Hope Hospital, a good name, I'm sure you will agree, for any medical institution. Today, we are marking the achievements of students who undertook their clinical studies based at both Central Manchester and Salford Royal NHS Foundation Trusts. Our course was reviewed this year by the General Medical Council. They were extremely positive about the quality of our education. They cited the way we work with local and international communities to have produced one of the most ethnically and socially diverse medical schools in the UK. We also work with other universities across the world to extend the ethos of our programme internationally. It is therefore a particular pleasure to have with us today the Dean and the head of the Manchester Mansoura programme of one of our oldest partners in this regard, the University of Mansoura in Egypt. Every year, they graduate 200 doctors from almost exactly the same programme as our students graduate from. The GMC also commented upon the quality of our graduates in terms of preparedness to practice and their intense respect for the rights of patients and staff, and praised the way in which our students and we have embraced the use of modern technology in learning and medical practice. Gaining the skills needed to become a modern doctor is not easy. Ours is an extremely intense programme, but it is built on sound educational principles, and those who stay the course, and most do, have a grounding in medicine that is second to none. So we're here today to celebrate the achievements of students who, by hard work and sheer determination, have graduated from one of the most relevant medical education programmes in the UK. We are extremely proud of their achievements, as I am sure are you, their relatives and friends. And it therefore seems only fitting that we and you should take this opportunity to applaud them in recognition of their achievements. Professor Lechler said this: their achievements are not theirs alone. The position that they have reached today could not have been gained without support. Only as they go out into the world will they realise the true value of a Manchester medical education. But I know from talking to many of them that they already fully realise they owe something much greater and much more long-lasting to you, their friends and families. Whilst we have made them the doctors they will become, you have made them the people that they are. So I would like to give them the opportunity to show their gratitude and appreciation publicly. Can I ask all our graduates to stand? And I want you to wave to all your supporters wherever they are in the hall. Thanks, guys. You can stop now. That's right. Enthusiasm is also one of the great markers of a Manchester graduate, as you've just seen. Finally, it is important for all our graduates to recognise that whatever branch of medicine you pursue, you have now started on a career that will bring you satisfaction and responsibility. Can I finish by congratulating you on your achievements? And as the person who has ultimate responsibility for assuring the quality of our medical graduates, can I reassure everybody else within this hall that your future health is in very good hands? Thank you.
Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery with European Studies with Honours, Małgorzata Grzelska. And for the degree of Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery with European Studies, Ikra Ashraf. Emma Isabel Kennard. Stefano Prisco Penna. And for the degree of Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery with Honours and Distinction, Taslima Begum, also awarded the Outstanding Academic Achievement Award. Sam Nicholas Pooley Cook. Helen Elizabeth Jackson. Jennifer Lewis. Michael Nesbitt. And for the degree of Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery with Honours, Daniel Butler. Hattie Hoi Ting Chow. David George Gent. Catherine Mary Jones. Bradley Michael Kaminsky. Helena Lendrum. Ailish Jacqueline McLaughlin. Connor McKenna. Melanie McNiff. Zara Sandiford. Oliver Shaw. Wei Tay Ting. John Can Tia Chuen. And for the degree of Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, Samuel Oluwanifise Ayalagbe. Majubin Akhtar. Iram Ali. George Allen. Nathan Baguley. Kieran Don Bezic. Molly Borthwick. Thomas Brayshaw. Claire Bunyan. Amy Carroll. Shama Chowdhury. Luke Cieslik. Frances Collett White. Ryan Cook. Jack DeWolf. Amabel Frederica Ellen Desane. Edward William Diggory. Thomas Edward Dixon. Christopher John Donahue. Ross William Dryden. Sharif Fatah. Neil Forbes. Sasha Ashana Gandhi. Fadi Rad Ghazala. Suleiman Hafez. Charlotte Haresnape. Peter Nicholas Harper. Zen Hassan. Scott Rory Hicks. Fahim Wakas Hussain. Sabira Hussain. Umar Ahmed Hussain. Alauddin Issa. Shabnam Javed. Daniel James Jenkin. Laura Jennifer Diane Johnston. Hayley Ann Jowett. Nisha Raishmi Kasavan. Mohammed Daniel Khan. Kapil Kumar. David Leonard. Simran Matani. Jack Martin. Alexander Edward McDermott. Kristen McGregor. Rebecca Metcalf. Samiha Zainab Mobeen Moazzam. Stacey Marie Morley. Craig Andrew Mowat. Anissa Nabi. Tessa Christina O'Hanlon. Christina Helen Parkinson. Philippa Pugh. Alicia Pilipchuk. Ovais Aslam Qureshi. Ismail Salou. Karamban Shanmugasundram. Hashem Shihab. Opeyemi Alubukola Shogaolu. Andrew James Wright Taylor. Ben Thompson. Anna Victoria Vaux. Maria Elena Lucy Warren. Rebecca Waterworth. Sarah Webborn. Andrew Wilson. Yasmin Woods. Sir Michel Zafar. Noor Kamaria Zainal.
Vice-Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I present to you for the degree of Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, with European Studies, Jack Burnham. Michael James Jones. Laura Jane Middleton. Katie Annaline Millichamp. Eleanor Redwood. Pamela Tizzoni. Sophie White. And for the degree of Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, with honours and distinction, Rosalind Chisholm. Elizabeth Keeler. Emma I. Wen Lim. Martin Little. Kyle Petrie. And for the degree of Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery with honours, Claire Helen Andrews. Jonathan David Brown. Laura Calder. Nicola Elizabeth Gaunt. Daniel Henderson. Benjamin Michael Carr-Winter. Akib Majid Khan. Mark Robert Lewis. Benjamin Richard Allen Parrish. Stephen Spencer. Joseph Campbell Swanee. And for the degree of Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, Sana Abu Rawa. Na Adukwai Ado. Shailesh Agarwal. Arun Nimit Agarwal. Christian Michael Alcock. Shoaib Ali. Gareth Allen. Ohud Aloma. Katie Bailey. Lucy Rebecca Beattie. Danielle Maria Berenson. Tasneem Boutawala. Nicholas Burkitt. Thomas Benjamin Bolter. Oliver George Buffin. Jenna Cardell. Matthew Coombe-Jones. Sophie Marie Dawes. Lauren Duga. Te Shui Chao Brian Diaz. Hasti Esna Ashari. Alistair Farquharson. Rachel Fleming. Rahila Gauhar. Amulya Gotipathi. Katie Louise Gregory. Emma Claire Griffiths. Lucy Halliday. Maeve Hanley. Joshua Adam Henry. Thomas Henry. Alice Howe. Sidra Hussain. Sumbal Iqbal. Omar Ali Javed. Bani Kahai. Andrew Kennedy Dalby. Rebecca Kenyon. Kulsuma Khan. Davina Louise Kinsman. Kenneth Koo. Sung-hoon Lee. Kate Lockie. William Luffman. Jeremy Scott Lyon. Maria Mahmood. Christopher Marcus. Harshul Masuria. Jessica Leah Most. Rohan Munir. Jack William Nash. Emmanuel Oladipo. Fiki Orekoya. Aziz Ur Rahim Pervez. Andrew Philip Poxon. Damikesh Nileshwar Puchua. Atia Raza. Louise Ricks. Tariq Sabir. Sunita Radha Sadhyaura. Joshua Adam Seldis. Lara Sethi. Meet Siddharth Shah. Krishna Shah. Ji Song Shin. Richa Sinha. Fardad Sultani. Rebecca Leah Stein. Alexander Robert James Stewart. Nicola Stratford. Oliver Thomas Sudworth. Samuel Derai Tekle. Catherine Thomas. Sarah Elizabeth Tidy. Amanda Jane Tither. Andrew Trethise. Francis Tosin Ogwu. Jonathan Ward. Debbie Wing. Matthew Woodhouse. Samuel James Reggett. Ivan Jeet Van Yao. Sarah Zahir.
This is nearly the end of our ceremony, but there is one last and solemn act that I and our graduands have to perform. So they're graduates now, so well done, guys. So can I ask you all, please, to stand? All the graduates, sorry. And to raise your right hands. We're going to make an affirmation of the duties of a modern doctor. So will you repeat after me? I affirm that I will make the care of my patients my first concern. Treat every patient politely and considerately. Respect patients' dignity and privacy. Listen to patients and respect their views. Give patients information in a way that they can understand. Respect the rights of patients to be fully involved in decisions about their care. Keep my professional knowledge and skills up to date. Recognize the limits of my professional competence. Be honest and trustworthy. Respect and protect confidential information. Make sure my personal beliefs do not prejudice my patient's care. Act quickly to protect my patients from risk if I have good reason to believe that I or a colleague may not be fit to practice. Avoid abuse of my position as a doctor. Work with colleagues in the ways that best serve patients' interests. In all these matters, I will never discriminate unfairly against my patients or colleagues. I will always be prepared to justify my actions to them. And finally, I so affirm. Thank you all very much. Please sit down again.
We're almost done. For the family and friends who are listening, I can assure you that the rest of the course is not repeating by rote. On behalf of the university, once again, congratulations to all of you graduating here today on your fantastic achievements. We wish you success and happiness in your future lives and careers. And I can now declare this ceremony closed. Thank you, everyone.